Okay, let's get started. I'm Nicole Jennings, Senior Vice President of Paid Digital Media at PMX Agency. We were formerly known as PM Digital. Thanks so much for joining the webinar. We've kicked off a series of hot topics that we are executing in partnership with Google to share key strategies and industry advancements for our clients. Today, we're going to focus on the upcoming holiday season. Q4 is fast approaching. I know none of us can believe it, even though we're still in summer clothes. We wanted to take both a look back at what we learned last year during holiday, as well as some expectations and hot topics for 2016. So today, we have me as well as Jamie Blomquist from our Google agency team to partner with me and present with me on this topic. Well, we should probably have about 30 minutes of content, and we'll get started right away. Couple of quick housekeeping items. If you have a question, please use the chat feature. If we have time, we'll definitely answer it at the end of the session or follow up with you after the event. The event's being recorded as well, and we will distribute that recording to you guys in the next few days. So I will dive right in myself, starting with PMX Agency's perspective on last holiday. So last year, I personally declared the holiday season the mobile moment. So Google, of course, has been long talking about everyone's mobile moments, but I really felt that last holiday season was the differentiator when it comes to really being a mobile holiday. So some quick statistics to get us started here, looking back at last year. So e-commerce was up 16% year over year as a whole. This is not PMX specific, with total retail being up only about 2% during holiday, which was a little bit below industry expectation. We all can remember, even mainstream media covered that during Black Friday and after Black Friday, that in-store retail foot traffic was a bit of a disappointment. So e-com drove the growth last year, and within that, mobile drove significant growth in terms of spending online. These are a few statistics to have in your back pocket. I think it's always good to have these for senior management when paying attention to mobile and thinking from a mobile-first perspective. 87% of people having their smartphone at their side day and night, which is a little bit appalling. But my favorite number on this screen is that we check our phones 150 times a day, which sounds terrible, and we all want to judge it until we realize, yep, we do. So keep this data in your back pocket if you need it, like I said, with your senior teams in order to justify sort of the mobile perspective. And then jumping specifically into paid search and what we saw last year. So our clients in paid search saw really fantastic growth during November and December of 2015. Sales were up 28%, again, largely driven by mobile. That was strategically created. Our clients were really funding the mobile paid search exposure in 2015, and so those sales were up 154%. Last year, it seems like forever ago, but 2015 was the scary year of CPC increases. Throughout the year, we saw significant growth in CPCs, but in holiday, we only saw 14% growth, which we were really pleasantly surprised with that. Mobile CPCs were up significantly. They are still lower than desktop. So while that growth in CPC on mobile is still impactful to our clients' budgets, overall those CPCs remain lower than desktop, which we're happy to see. We didn't know if that would maintain. Jumping to some more statistics related to just sort of comparing what happened on mobile to overall paid search. I just want to point out the statistic related to conversion rate. So on mobile paid search last year, clients' conversion rates were up 40%. While I'd love to give you all of the credit for improving your mobile conversion process, we have to know that this is consumer-driven as well. There's a comfort level and a need to convert on mobile devices that existed in holiday 2015 that really didn't exist before. And so we expect to continue to see that conversion rate increase continue into 2016. A quick deep dive into specific days. So Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday are so critical to the whole season. That really jump-starts the season, but that's really where a lot of our clients' growth is for mobile paid search results, overall paid search results year over year. What I wanted to point out here is how important Black Friday has become to online. Obviously, Cyber Monday is a bit of an old story in the industry, but the conversion rate growth of 23% on Black Friday is really, really significant. Again, that's where we saw less retail foot traffic, people staying home, and really doing that converting online. So we use this data internally to make sure we're budgeted and have our bid strategies in place for you guys. But from a promotion standpoint, it's really important to think about those days. Think about on Black Friday that if you normally launch promotions at 9 a.m., that's too late on Black Friday, right? You'd like to get those started earlier. Some people are shopping all night long, waiting for midnight to come to either go in store or shop online. When we look at mobile specifically, the Black Friday story and even Thanksgiving Day story becomes even more important. So again, focusing on conversion rate. On mobile on Cyber Monday, we saw a huge increase in conversion rate, but it was nothing compared to Black Friday and Thanksgiving. So if you think about, especially on Thanksgiving, people are with their families, but they are looking at those deals. We know a lot of you are starting your promotions on Thanksgiving now and even earlier, and obviously that's good news. I always laugh at when we see some really great days leading up to Thanksgiving, and I think, wow, those shoppers cannot even wait. They just cannot wait until Black Friday. So with these kinds of increases in mobile and conversion rate, I just want to encourage our clients to really be thinking about what is their promotion or budget strategy going into those days this year. And then this is a quick snapshot. You don't have to remember any of these numbers. But this snapshot is to remember that the cadence of revenue and orders coming in on our client sites is completely different on Black Friday than it is on Cyber Monday. Black Friday is front-filled, which is why I mentioned that you certainly need to be launching your promotions as early as possible on Black Friday and not waiting for typical times like 9 a.m. or even 6 a.m. And the other thing to remember is no panicking on Cyber Monday when things look slower than they did on Black Friday. We see the bulk of those orders happening after 5 p.m. Also on Cyber Monday, the Debbie Downer comment of the day is that that's when we see our client sites go down, really after 8 p.m. on Cyber Monday. So, you know, I'm sure you're all talking about site stability already, but one thing to keep in mind is the influx of traffic and the conversions happening after 8 p.m. On Cyber Monday and having your site ready and your promotions ready for that as well. This is almost impossible to read, so don't worry, you don't have to know any of these details except to know where you can see lots of colors and bars means the largest growth days last year for paid search year over year. So what you can see here just by looking at the dates is the front of the season as well as the end of the season is where we saw the most growth. So from a strategic standpoint and from a budget management standpoint, that's where your teams at PMX Agency are going to be focused, making sure we fund all of that conversion at the beginning and all of that opportunity at the beginning of the season. And then when there's that sense of urgency at the end of the season across mobile and desktop, making sure we're fully funded to capture all of that demand at the end of the season. So again, the details aren't important on this calendar. It's just that the growth we saw in 2015 was front-filled, and then at the end of the season when there was that sense of urgency. So you guys can use this data for your promotion strategies and things like that. And again, we'll be talking to our clients about their budget management strategies related to this timeline. And we're going to pass it off to Jamie to share the Google perspective on holiday coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me and tuning in. So I'm going to talk a little bit about specific strategies that you might want to keep in mind for holiday 2016. So I'm going to frame these as sort of three main pillars. So to start thinking about holiday 2016 strategy, there's kind of three big buckets of recommendations. The first one is around budgeting. So think about it this way, you would never close your physical doors during the holiday, so don't close your digital doors either. Secondly, meet your customer where they are, not just where they're shopping, but how they're shopping. Are they researching before heading to a store? What devices are they using? Where are they in the shopping cycle? And finally, and this one is maybe a little deceptively simple, but show up. You know, similar to budgeting, these recommendations will focus on having a strong presence on the digital shelf. So let's dive into the first one, budgeting to keep the stores open. So three big sub-principles here, segmenting and planning your strategies for when shopping intent is highest, anticipating a longer holiday season, and I'll touch on that a little bit, and again, budgeting appropriately. Hitting budget caps throughout the day would be the same as closing your store in the middle of the day. That's precisely what you wouldn't want to do during the most important shopping season of the year.
Yeah, Jamie, that's a really good point. So one of the things we do at PMX, and obviously we know our clients do have black and white budgets at the end of the day, but something to think about with your day-to-day teams that you work with here is to plan at the kickoff of the holiday season to spend what we need to spend, and we sort of deal with the repercussions of the budget in the rest of the season and partner with you on what to do with the rest of that money. But because there's so much volume at the beginning of the season, we recommend you just go for it and adjust accordingly going forward.
Super smart. So the headline here is to expect higher purchase intent in November. So what we see across the board, and this might be true for PMX as well, is most retailers uncap their budgets from Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday. And that's when we know shoppers have the highest intent. But we know that shopping and browsing starts much earlier. In November and in 2015, we saw that conversion rates continue to be higher on average for 2 weeks after Cyber Monday. And that's because shoppers know that they can get their gifts on time much later in the season. So our recommendation here is to start ramping your spend in mid-October, capture these early shopping and browsing audiences for remarketing when intent is the highest later in the season. And don't miss out on post-Cyber Monday traffic either. In most categories, search demand doesn't curtail at least halfway through December. So here's another small calendar. And what Nicole shared was the key date for 2015. This is from MasterCard's spending poll study. It looks forward to predict the biggest dates in 2016. So it shows that 2 out of the 5 biggest online shopping days will be December 13th and 14th. Also note that Giving Day, which is an opportunity for nonprofits and other charity-minded organizations, this is a day to capitalize on awareness and donation driving efforts, so that can be a component of this strategy not to be missed. Also from this forecast, in-store traffic sales peak, thanks in part to procrastinators, the 2 days before Christmas Eve. So as digital marketers, this doesn't mean that you get to kick your feet up after December 15th, especially if you have physical locations.
Absolutely, and just a quick nod to Giving Day. Obviously that applies largely to nonprofits, but we've certainly seen a lot of retailers take advantage of the opportunity to have a less salesy voice or offer in market and support any of the foundations that they support or any of the partnerships they have in the nonprofit world on that day. It's an interesting way to have a different voice. Some brands certainly have the conflict of what's appropriate for their brand in, promoting something that's supposed to be promotional. But I think what we found with our clients in the past is they're not strategically planning for that in times like September. So I would just encourage you to think about that and whether or not you want to have a voice on that day in November.
And what a great thing. Like, it's such a win-win.
Absolutely.
So moving away from the warm, fuzzy feelings, while on the topic of planning, 88% of retailers are going to start pushing promotions the first week of November. And so the scary part of this is 7 weeks away from today. So for those of folks thinking about November promotions, now is really the time to start getting ducks in order.
Jamie, I appreciate the call out. That's a neat thing to say. That sounds really close.
It is really close. But again, this is a way to start influencing shopper intent earlier in the process, and then leveraging things like retargeting and sort of keeping your voice there. And even with Giving Day, sort of kind of popping in throughout this entire season so that you're staying top of mind. And this is a good way to build loyalty with new products and doorbuster deals and site-wide promotions, if you're doing exclusive promotion codes. And if you're not already consider using merchant promotions to highlight what some of those special offers might be. All right, so next up we're going to talk about reaching shoppers from awareness to getting yourself in the consideration set and ultimately winning the sale. So again, 3 principles in this section: maximizing market presence, striking when the iron is hot, and capturing the most profitable customers. So most retailers are really good at targeting the bottom of the funnel when somebody has already committed to a purchase, but we find it's sophisticated market leaders look to influence the entire funnel. And realistically, almost half of all search queries are going to come from broad terms like women's athletic clothing or living room furniture. And this is especially true during holidays. So from a recent study, more than a third of people said that they use search almost as a gift guide, which means they're starting pretty broad and then narrowing down to a specific gift, which means to win the sale, you need to be in the consideration set earlier. Non-brand is also good for identifying new customers. 65% of non-brand customers are new customers. So if you're only focused on branded terms, you're effectively restricting your customer acquisition efforts. So given how important the top of the funnel is, especially for getting folks moving towards a specific purchase, we've launched Showcase Shopping Ads, which we're getting a number of questions about. These are ads that help people explore and discover what they want to buy and where, and a sort of a way to bring retailers into the consideration process early, again at the top of the funnel. So these ad formats are being rolled out automatically for broad terms only. So for example, in this example, if a shopper searches summer dresses, which I am still buying, ASOS, which is a global apparel retailer, can now show its collection of dresses in a more visually rich format. And for this, products are automatically selected based on performance and popularity. So keep an eye out for this, and I expect that this will probably play a bigger role. And again, some of those people using search as a gift guide. So in the theme of meeting shoppers where they are, we would be completely remiss not to mention mobile. And Nicole sort of did a great job of highlighting what this means in 2015. So on average, about 60% of searches are happening on a mobile device. And they're not just browsing on mobile, they're actually, and maybe finally, buying on mobile. So 34% of online purchases are now going to happen on a mobile device in the U.S. Mobile has made it possible to take action wherever a shopper is, whatever they need or want in that moment. And to give you some higher funnel context, last year between the three biggest holiday shopping days, mobile accounted for 45 to 55% of all traffic and about 25 to 35% of all orders. Now that is a very different story than what we had seen in years past, and I would expect everything points to even more mobile purchase and mobile visibility this year. So it is absolutely crucial to have a mobile strategy for this holiday. So consider this year of mobile part 2. every year from this day forward will be the year of mobile. All right. And while attribution for mobile is tricky, so we can sort of acknowledge that, and that's because it still primarily plays a research or assist role, 93% of those who do use a phone end up purchasing. So this is a very high intent device. And that percentage doesn't just mean online. So when we say 93 are going to purchase, that doesn't just mean online. Mobile's role is not only online sales, but it's a huge part of driving in-store traffic. Remember that 85% of online sales are digitally influenced. Mobile is that connector piece between digital research and in-store sales. And so we've seen an explosion of near-me searches, 2x over the last year. And of near-me searches, 80% of those are coming from a mobile. So these are folks who are looking for something very specifically. It is a very high intent. And again, it's that connector piece between mobile research, digital research, and an in-store sale. And about 76% of people who conduct a local search like that on their smartphone visit a physical place within 24 hours. So again, highly motivated. And remember, much of what we talk about is online, but over 90% of retail purchases still take place in stores. Again, meaning a mobile strategy is really important for supporting not just online, but maybe even especially offline. And the last principle here is targeting the most profitable customers. So first, some context on shopper behavior. 2 of 5 mobile shoppers will leave a website without converting. Half will shop around to other sites before purchasing. So what do you do with that? When a shopper is ready to purchase from you, or even when they've shown significant engagement, we want to make sure you can remember who they are no matter where they shop. So we know that existing customers are your most valuable asset, especially around the holidays. They buy more, they buy often. And there's Google's audience products like remarketing lists, customer match, Gmail ads, where you can start taking steps to reach customers who maybe have abandoned their carts, made a recent purchase, or even part of your loyalty program, so targeting existing customers. On average, advertisers who use remarketing lists for shopping during the holiday season saw a 10% increase in conversions and a 35% decrease in CPA. So the main takeaway here in regards to remarketing is that most shoppers are going to leave your site before purchasing. We know that to be a fact. What we're saying is don't lose them forever. All right, and now finally the last strategy pillar, having a strong preference. Personal question, have you ever been here?
Oh, no.
So what this shows in yellow are the paid ad formats on a search result, and the green is shopping ads. Everything that is not colored are image ads and organic. So in thinking about our own behavior, we probably never, or at least pretty rarely, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. There is so much rich content ahead of it that we almost never get there. There's ads with extensions, there's shopping results, image results, organic results. And if there are products that are important to your business, you want to make sure that customers are seeing them. So if you're working with constrained budgets, which is the reality, this is going to be an exercise of diverting budget to get visibility where you need for the most important products. So again, this is an area where certainly the PMX team is all over this, and we can partner with them on the background to help arm them with what we anticipate this to look like so that we can make the smartest decisions with budget. And this is even more important for mobile. So on mobile, the visible shopping products have a 3 times higher click-through rate, which makes sense. This is much less real estate, and shopping is going to take up much more of it. So one recommendation here is to not view text ads, so what we think of as traditional paid search ads, and shopping ads is either or. This is realistically the only time Google lets you double serve on paid ads. And just like there's a synergistic effect when you have organic and paid visibility, the same is true when you have text and shopping ads. So if you were really owning the shopping section of this and you're really doing great with the text, this is your opportunity to own almost the entire mobile search results page. Again, if there are products that need to be in front of your potential customers, compete and budget appropriately. And also leverage extensions to build the most engaging real estate gobbling ad you can. So these are tools that help give your shoppers what they're looking for. From a recent survey, after finding a product they are interested in, shoppers looked for, in this order, product reviews, price comparisons, similar products, more images. And extensions can help you address almost all of those in one ad. So really consider using all the tools at your disposal.
Yeah, there's a lot of extension options, and we've done a ton of playing with that this year with our clients on what the right mix is for everyone. It's certainly something to be talking to your teams at PMX about. We're a big fan of the new expanded text ads. We like the click-through rates we're seeing on those. We have always loved site links. And then when it comes to the additional extensions like location, call, and app, it's a really test and play to see what is the right mix for your audience on mobile specifically.
Yeah, and I will call out, especially on the expanded text ads, it's great to see the PMX team really moving to capitalize on that, because there is a sort of first mover sort of advantage that we're seeing here, and other advertisers not as quick to sort of get there. So this is sort of free visibility, free real estate, so scoop it up while you can.
Absolutely.
All right. So that wraps up sort of 3 pillars for thinking about your strategy this year: keeping your doors open, engaging your shoppers at every point in their journey, and making sure you're showing up when it matters. So I can't wait to work with you and the PMX team to get the most out of this holiday season, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, we do have time for questions if anyone would like to submit them, and we're certainly happy to follow up with answers as well, so feel free to submit them as we're closing out right now. We really hope you enjoyed the event. We look forward to having you join us again in the next couple of months when we do this again, and if there's anything specific that you would like us to cover, we're certainly open to feedback. Jamie and I are pretty controlling, and we love to control the webinars, but we're certainly open to input. And you can always reach out to anyone at PMX Agency or at info@pmxagency.com if you need any follow-up to this webinar. Thanks again, everyone. Take care.